Yeah, my son Dylan at the time was, I think he was 12, and he's like, and of course we're up in Milwaukee, which is only about an hour and a half away from where that was being held, and he's like, Dad, can't you pull some of your Fender connections and get us into that show? I'm like, oh, let me see what I can do. So I called, and sure enough, we went down there and weaseled in, and it was glorious. This is a non sequitur, but it's a funny story. So a buddy of mine from town here, Hubert Sumlin lived in Milwaukee for his last,
Yep. Yeah, I'm a big fan. Howlin' Wolf's nephew, right?
I believe so. And so he lived up here, and I got to know him a bit. We did, a couple of gigs here and there, but there was a great guitar player from town here who was really tight with Hubert, and kind of him and his family kind of watched over him and stuff. And so at that event, he was looking after Hubert. So he was kind of like roading for Hubert, made sure his guitar was all set. And so we're watching the show, and we're off kind of up in the hinterland, looking kind of down to the side of the stage. And I see on the side of the stage, it's my buddy Jeff Dagenhart from town here, who's looking after Hubert. He's sitting right next to Eric Clapton and Bill Murray. And I'm looking, I'm like, there's 20,000 people here. I look up on stage, Jeff Dagenhart from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, sitting next to Eric Clapton and Bill Murray. So at the end of the show, I see Jeff. I go, Jeff, I'm watching the show, and you're sitting next to Clapton. I mean, did you talk to him? I mean, what did anything? He's like, well, it was kind of weird. We're hanging out the whole time. I mean, every time I'm sitting there with Hubert, Clapton would come over and kind of sit down. So, I felt comfortable enough that at some point where I'm sitting next to him on the side of the stage, I looked over and I said, hey, Eric, do you mind if I grab a quick picture of you and I sitting here? And Eric goes, I got to go get a hot dog. And he gets up and he goes to the back of the stage. There's like a little hot dog stand at the back of the stage, and he makes himself a little hot dog and disappears. So I thought, there you go. Anytime you're in a situation where you don't want to get a picture taken, you just say, I want to go get a hot dog, and magically a stand will manifest.
Yeah. Oh, well.
But what are you going to do?
But he didn't get the picture.
He didn't get the picture, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
No,
these things happen. But every time I think of that Crossroads Festival, Crossroads Festival, one of the things I think about is, I got to go get a hot dog. Just one of those stories.
Yeah, you're making me hungry. I remember meeting a few. I remember that gig. Johnny Winters was on that gig.
Yes.
And of course he sat down because he was pretty frail, I think, at that time. I didn't get to meet him, but a friend of mine was playing drums in his band at that time. And he was there, but he didn't get to play because I think Johnny Winter just sat in with Derek Trucks. As far as I remember.
Derek Trucks came out. I think they did Dust My Broom or something like that. And then they actually recorded it.
Yeah. But I also met, I'll tell you who I did meet there, who's been a big fan, I've been a big fan of for a long time, although there's a slight crossover because I've got a dobro, but I met Jerry Douglas there.
Oh, yeah.
The most charming, lovely, we had quite a few mutual friends in Nashville, people that he'd worked with, like Alison Brown and his name's gone. I'll think of his name in a minute. So, but I got a chat with him, which is great because he'd just gone back to using beard dobros after having some kind of weird thing with Gibson that didn't work out. But I got my dobro here, the one I did. Have you ever seen me play with John Mayer at the song called Daughters? Yeah.
And,
I did that. There's something that got a lot of hits on YouTube, but I've got this, which is a spider bridge, proper spider bridge. It's not a dobro. It's made by a guy in France who's got a company called Fine Resophonic, and and it's a beautiful thing. I have to say, because I've got have you got any resonator guitars? I mean, the
I've had various. I actually got one of the new Nationals last summer. After I've had a dobro and I got rid of it, and then I just had this cheap little Gretsch that sounded great, and I used that on a bunch of records. And then I was traveling someplace and I played one of the new Nationals. It was a Duolian and it was blue, and so between sounding great and being blue, I had to have it. So
yeah, I like some of that. I'd like to get an old. I used to have an old Duolian. Yeah. Because I really noticed the difference between something like this, which has got the spider bridge.
Right.
So the resonator is like a speaker, the deep part's in the middle.
Right.
And as you know, with spider bridges, the sound is spread from, you can see these things inside here, is spread across to the outside of the cone. So you get a much more...
Beautiful.
But then I've got this... the same guy made me this, which is this is the more common Biscuit Bridge. So the resonator's around the other way, you know what I mean? Bloody hell. It's so different, you know, when you get into these things. I mean, I'd love an old dobro with a spider bridge. The spider bridges are kind of they're kind of harder to find a good one. But
glorious though.
I mean, basically all country dobros, you know, with the square necks.
Right.
People like Jerry Douglas, they all have a spider bridge, whereas you know, Sun House and Bucker White,
right,
fans would have, you know, something with the Biscuit Bridge. So but they're very different. It's amazing how people don't know about that difference. You know,
sure, that nuanced difference between them.
Yeah, it's they're very different, very very different sound. You know, much more sustain out of a spider bridge than out of a biscuit, but it had a totally different sound as well. So I've gone completely off track again. So
that's all right. No, this is all gold. I dig it all.